Hey, my friend, welcome back to the studio again today. I'm Linda Glover Gooch, and I'm glad that you are here. We today are going green, as in green paint. That's right, I'm going to share my favorite green mixtures with you. Now, this video is a small mix of greens, meaning there's so many different mixes and so many different ways that we can go. And I do use some other mixtures as well, but this video kind of just pinpoints some of my standbys, right? Some of the ones that I use quite often. So I thought you might enjoy seeing them being mixed up. Green is a beautiful color, and of course, if you're a landscape painter, more than likely you're dealing with greens. I remember years ago when I was starting plein air painting, actually, and I was going into Colorado with a lot of my painter friends, and we were doing plein air painting in Colorado during the summer, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do with all this green? So much green. And it can be challenging to paint. So I've just learned over the years the different ways to mix it, to try to neutralize it. And there's so many ways to neutralize it. So this is just a small touch of some of the things that I do. So let's just get into the video and see how it goes. Let's go make some green. I do like to make my own sap green. So right here, I've got my ultramarine blue deep and my Gamblin transparent orange. And I'm going to make a sap green. And it's usually the dark green that I pull across my landscape. I'll vary it different times, but just to get a mixture going here, I'd use the transparent orange and the ultramarine blue. It makes a very beautiful sap green. Now, you can go warmer or cooler with it. I usually will land right where it's just barely starting to warm, but it doesn't have the cool of the blue. Because sap green is kind of a little warm out of the tube, you can use the tube sap greens. I just like to mix my own most of the time, though I still do carry a tube of sap green for other mixtures. That's about perfect right there. Now for me, that nice dark sap green landed just about perfect, and you can see as you scrape the palette, that's how you can pick up the true color of it. So that's how I make my sap green. Now sometimes off in the distance I want to use a little bit of the sap green. Let's do a little pile here. And I like to take some air color with a little bit of sap green mixed into it. And this sets off a very beautiful gray green. Now this is my air color, which there's a video that will teach you how to make my air color. That's the white, cad red light, and ultramarine blue. But you can already see, isn't that just a gorgeous blue green? And you can go darker with it. You can be cooler. If all I wanted to do was get a little bit cooler, I could just add more blue to it and see what it does for it right there. If you can see that difference. Or, even a little more green to it. So it's still a cool color, but look, it's a little bit darker. So you can see those two values there. So I love to do that for distance. Another nice color for distance that I like to make up in my greens are ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. All right, now it gives you a totally different green than that right there. This is warmer than that, but sometimes I want it to be just a little bit cooler. I'm going to throw in a little more ultramarine blue. Now, I want that to be maybe distance, so this would work pretty good for some mid-ground areas. If I want to use my air color, which not say if, I do a lot, I'll use my air color and mix it with that. And still a very beautiful light blue green, not as cool as this one over here. This one's cooler because the yellow ochre was way warmer. So that makes another beautiful blue green like you're seeing in some of those images. You can see them, you can see this in the midground, you can see it off in the distance. Sort of depends on where you're looking. Now there's another color that I just love to work, another green, a tube green that I really do love, and it is Rembrandt Green Earth. So it's Rembrandt Green Earth. It's a very gorgeous color. You can mix it though. You don't have to buy it, but I'm going to show it to you here. It's a very beautiful, kind of, I would call it earthy, but on the cool side a little bit. So that green earth, I love to use it in different areas of my foreground. It just sort of depends on the scene, but I will intermix it. It's a nice color for ocean too, but right now I'm talking about ground. So in order to make that mixture, yes, you can buy it out of the tube. You definitely can. I like it for convenience, but I also end up mixing it quite a bit too by taking Viridian Green and Raw Sienna, and it brings that over. You just go slow, or you go too far. That's one thing about mixing, is just take your time, because you go too far and then you got to start all over again. So I'd rather be a little bit on the conservative side. So you can see that's getting real close. It almost looks a little bit lighter in film. Maybe I'll just add just a little bit of ultramarine blue to take it maybe just a hair darker, get it just a little closer. But how close is that? Really close. So, you know, that's another mid-ground. Now, when I start getting back way in the distance, I love sometimes to put a very beautiful glow from the sun. And a lot of times I will use Grumbacher Phthalo Yellow Green and Yellow Ochre. And I'll start with this mixture, and I'll even use this. I guess I shouldn't say this is just in the background where I have a strip of light, but you'll see this. You see that in that one painting there in the foreground where it's really intense bright greens. This is the Yellow Ochre and Phthalo Yellow Green mixed together here, right? Now, if you take these and you're laying them in your foreground area, and then this starting to mingle with it, you get some very beautiful things happening on your ground. Now, I'll lighten that with maybe some lemon yellow and white where I really want some bright. I'll take that, and you can see that right down underneath that tree where I have some sparkle of light showing there. That's this mixture here that I like to use. So these are just sort of some mixtures that I get going. Now, obviously, there's all different ways that you can go with this. You know, the ultramarine blue and lemon yellow are a beautiful mix. It's way cooler than these lights, but look how beautiful this is right here. Your yellow, lemon yellow, and ultramarine blue. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous. Now we are also seeing this in that one painting that I have up with the different spots of green. The dark green, the mid-tones, the blue grays. And depending on how gray you want to get those, you can always add more air color. If you really want to go way grayer with some of those, the sap green, really influenced with air color. In a different fashion, a little bit of warmer sap green, so you can get all kinds of varieties going. You know, you don't have to stick with just one. There's areas where I'll put some of this purple even showing in my greens. And you know, you can always bring it up one more brighter with a little more yellow. Always go to yellow first before adding white. There's not much white in these mixtures. There's white in this, but it's come through a gray. So you know, you want to be careful with that. So this just gives you a little bit of an idea. These are just some of the favorite mixtures. You'll see them in my paintings. If you study and look at my paintings, you'll see them. One other color that I really do love too is Viridian Green and Cat Orange. This is a very beautiful color. It's sort of an earthy green, all right, but it takes on a deep richness because of the Viridian, but takes it way different than all these others. But it's just a very beautiful mixture. It's all about practicing, you know, using all those. And then the key element that you need to think about is be careful with getting too greeny green. So there's a lot of elements that I try to move in. How about a little bit of red to warm up that green? Putting a little bit of red in it helps warm it. You can do that on any green because it's a complement. So hopefully this helps you, kind of gives you some different ideas about mixing greens. All right, my friend, I hope you found that helpful and that it gives you some ideas of how to go mix greens if you need some greens. Now, you know, there was the one phthalo yellow green that I used. That was a pretty intense green. So really neutralizing that with different mixtures or different tubes, like I added some yellow ochre to mine. You know, you can take that phthalo yellow green and put some alizarin into it. Its complement is an alizarin, and alizarin is kind of a grayed down red, a deep red. That makes a beautiful mixture. So that phthalo yellow green is not a mixture that you would like use all the time, or it's not a mixture that you would use pure, right? You're going to tone that down a little bit in your landscape. If you do use, like the mix that I made, the phthalo yellow green, and I put some white and lemon yellow and made that really intense little highlight, that little sparkle, it's a sparkle, right? It's used very conservatively. Now that we've mixed up all that green in the landscape, if you'd like to know some great earth colors, some of those colors that you saw in those paintings that were highlighted in the video with pathways and different ground color, I have a great outline for you. It's my earth tones, and it's a video that you can go through and see all the mixtures, and you can get the list of the mixtures too. So I'll drop it down below and you can find that link there to go and grab your free outline on earth tones and bring them right on into the green. All right, my friend, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, please. I appreciate it. And also subscribe. Click the bell so that you know when I put another video up. Thanks for joining me today in the studio, and happy painting.